Welcome to Luminescence, Common Sense Spirituality, a show designed to share spiritual insights with you so that you can comprehend the universe and how it functions. You are about to experience raised consciousness. This is a place where spiritual principles are shared with the goal of assisting you to expand your understanding of both the seen and unseen worlds. Luminescence Common Sense Spirituality helps you to discern the timeless truths handed down from wise sages through the ages, from the airy-fairy nonsense that is being taught today. Now, here is your host, Lynn Wyeth.
Welcome to Luminescence Common Sense Spirituality, the radio show that disseminates esoteric knowledge and common sense spirituality. I'm Lynn Wyeth, creator of Namology Science, the ability to know all about a person's personality and the soul's purpose simply from a person's name. Now, our topic today is asking if we really create our own reality. Are we the sole creator or do we co-create our reality? What about things we consciously think that there is no way I could have created this? What role does predestination play in our creative process? Where does free will come into the picture? How much is planned before birth compared to how much is created via free will once we're here? And our special guest today is Susan Rowlen. Now, Susan Rowlen is a native Chicagoan, raised on Chicago's northwest side as a child. She did not have a conventional childhood because from the age of 6, Spirit singled her out and set in motion her journey to provide healing, clarity, and guidance. Blessed with the gifts of seeing the past, present, and future, Susan has been in constant contact with spirits, voices, and visions in order to help others make sense of their lives. In her early life, Susan chose to use her unique gifts selectively to help those close to her as well as local officials and businesses in need of direction. However, she soon became aware that she possessed rare and valuable gifts which should be used for the greater good. Not only has she used her unique abilities to provide spiritual guidance and healing to people of every age and every walk of life throughout the world, but on a personal level, her gifts also enable her to defeat her own daughter's autism. As a professional psychic medium, Susan uses her abilities to help clients gain deep insights into their life's journey and gain spiritual growth, shining light on relationships, love, career, business, and family. Now, Susan tells it like it is, so if you want to progress really rapidly in where you want to go and how to get to higher consciousness, there's no bones about it. She is very direct. She lets you know exactly what needs to happen, which is wonderful because there's no beating around the bush. There's no reading between the lines. Susan spells it all out for you. Susan, welcome to Luminescence.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, it is so nice to be here. I love when we get together because so much comes through. How are you?
Well, I think it's fabulous for everybody that's listening that they get to listen to us chit-chat.
It is. It's fun. It really is. It's fun. Have you been good?
Me? Oh, I hope not. Not too good anyway. I mean, I don't want to be too
any fun.
I don't want it to be too boring. No, I just came through just got home from a very quick book tour through a few states,
nice.
And literally giving talks almost daily. And it was
You're
just
good at that. You're good at that.
It was so much fun. I met the nicest people along the way.
Well, it's funny, you attract people such as yourself. I truly believe that. So we do. And, I believe that your thoughts will also project the people that we invite in. So good for you. I'm happy for you. I am. But you're a magnificent speaker because you're a person that connects dots and helps people understand the whys. So I'm sure they found you very enlightening. I know that. People could listen to you all day.
Oh, bless your heart.
I, for one. Let me tell you. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to talk about creating our own reality. I have so many questions around this because I believe we're co-creators, but maybe we do all of it. So I want to ask, do we create our own reality, or are we like the sole creator, or do we co-create our reality? Straighten me out.
I actually am leaning to being the sole creator.
Okay.
Because here's why I say this, because truly it's free will. Here's why I say this. God gives us whatever we sign up for. Now, we may not have a conscious memory of it when we come into the new life, but trust me, the pre-birth assignment is different. And what we have decided that we are going to say yes to and no to for various different reasons. So, I always say God gets a bad rap. God never gives us or puts us in a situation that we are not comfortable with, because if so, our soul is a little bit orchestrated then. So everything we do is solely based on the decision-making and what we sign up for and how we handle it.
Now, I know that the number one law of the universe is that we are solely responsible for our thoughts, our actions, our deeds, and everything else. Can't blame anybody but us.
That's right. It's very true. We create our own reality through the vibrations we send out. It's one thing about energy, but I want to use the word vibrations today, because vibrations are a result of our thoughts we think of or we focus on, what we attract. So basically, when we keep focusing on a particular subject, then there will be enough energy to bring it to a physical form.
Okay, so now let me share with you why I was thinking co-create. So again, you can straighten me out, okay? And that is, I really feel like we do the vast majority of our free will choosing before we come. We choose our parents, we choose what we're going to look like, we choose our timelines, we lay out our plan, but I believe we get help, like either from a master guide or somebody who's more along the conscious evolution than we are, and that's why I'm saying we co-create what's going to be coming.
We could, but again, it's your free will to have faith. Our guides can only help us if we actually are in tune to them. Again, it's a choice. If we open up our portals, it's a choice. It really is.
Right.
It's a choice to who we help. They're waiting for us. This is why I'm big on archangels and spirit guides. They're all here for us, but we also have to be open to the messages. So they're waiting to help us, but if we're not doing our share of being open and letting them in, and we slam them down, there's only so much that they can do. Same thing with universe when it sends us different scenarios, and it's up to us to learn from it. If we're not going to learn from it, we're going to keep getting that same bad thing happening until we actually can learn to say no and change it. Again, it's us.
Okay, what about things that we consciously think there's absolutely no way we could have created that, like debilitating illness or a thief that comes into our house or a scam artist that gets away with something? Or how about if you say, never could I have done that?
Well, nobody wants to think of themselves as inducing something horrible. But I truly believe that if you live your life in negativity, believe it or not, a lot of bad things can happen. Now, I have a lot of wonderful people, and bad things happen to wonderful people. That is just something where I believe we're being tested by how we're going to respond to the ill-fated circumstances. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me throughout my life. And yes, I've cried, I've gotten upset, I've gotten angry, but I have never allowed myself to stay in it. That's the secret. This is the secret. It's how you're going to respond. So basically, it's called life. Situations that are presented to us are key to how we are going to handle it. This is very, very important in how it's going to structure our soul growth, because also what happens in this lifetime is going to dedicate what's going to happen in our next lifetime of choosing.
Okay, now what about all those people that say, no, I'm not choosing a next lifetime?
They don't really have a choice. They're going to have to sit down. I have people that say this to me a lot. Oh, Susan, please, this is my last lifetime. I'm like, no, because I don't see you done. and it would be wonderful because, yes, some lifetimes are extremely, very tiring. But it's basically when you go up there and you cross through that light, you're sitting with your guides and God and your angels, and you're talking about your life. You're talking about your life's purpose. Did you succeed? You talk about your selfishness versus unselfishness. You actually will feel every great thing that you have bestowed on somebody with their joy because of you. And you also will feel every terrible thing that you caused upon somebody. You will feel that emotion as well. And then you talk about the things you need to work on. And this is what constitutes the next lifetime, because every lifetime are the different experiences that we need to learn. Sometimes we're repeating the same thing over and over, and universe gives us as many chances as need be to change that. So changing that cycle is huge. But again, it's free will.
Okay, so in a name, when I'm looking at the name with my stuff, if you don't have there's like 7 subsets to the overall reason that a soul comes down here and what they're choosing to experience in this lifetime. And if you don't have 7, I interpret that as that's your last lifetime. And in all the thousands of names I've read, I've only seen that twice.
Well, I believe that. I do. But here's the way the bottom line is we create our own reality, which means you can choose which experiences you want to attract in a conscious way. Think about that.
Okay,
so it's not just having your face, it's actually testing the energy and vibrations that we choose to take part on this journey and what becomes of it.
Okay, now I have a huge sign literally right next to my computer, right next to my desk that is a constant reminder, and it says, if you realized how powerful your thoughts are, you would never think a negative thought again.
Very true.
Okay, so let's say we have a negative thought. How do we get it out so it doesn't create something for us we don't want? I mean, if the minute you get through thinking it, you go, oh my God, that was negative.
Well, nothing happens by accident. The smallest thought in your reality was drawn by you, okay, to you and by you, okay? Can you meet somebody who is on your frequency? The answer is yes. Your realities are aligned as a result of a matching frequency. That old saying, you attract what you think, what you believe. Same frequencies bring people together. So that can be on a really great note, and it could be on a negative note. If you're negative, your frequency is operating at a very low point, and you're going to be bringing in lots of people just like you. Think about that for a moment. So it's like tuning into the radio. You can tune in to what channel you want to be, what you want to listen to. Okay?
But what about family members? Family members, I know we choose our families when we're coming in here, but some of those members are highly negative and some are highly positive or whatever. That you get this nice smorgasbord variety.
Very much so.
So is that to learn how to deal with? Because you just don't get to divorce family all the time. So
no, don't. You don't. That's a great question. I look at it, I have family members that I have had treacherous relationships with. And looking back, I mean, when I was a kid, it was really hard for me. It really was. And the lack of understanding that they possessed to me. And it was very cruel. But I look at it now, and I really believe I'm a good mother based on how I was raised. And in a negative way in how I was raised, I actually broke the cycle and turned it into love, patience, kindness, non-judgmental, because I had very, very judgmental parents when I was growing up, and I really did. What they thought, what they believed, it was an iron rule, and you believe it, and that's it. And I really look at it as, was I paired off to my parents the way I needed to? The answer is yes. But then I also look at somebody who's had maybe an alcoholic parent, and you say, now, why did I get stuck with this parent? Maybe subconsciously, or even on purpose, I want to say, in a past life, you decided to try to help this person in the next life. So your soul contract, you signed up to give your parent that unconditional love, to maybe see how good and genuine you are, that they can maybe rub off on you. Now, 9 out of 10 times, they fail. The parents fail miserably. So what you as a child set out for, as you're an adult, when you're a child you have no choice, but when you're an adult you do. I always tell certain clients, your soul contract with your father is null and void. You're done. What you set out to do was give the olive branch. You may have given the whole olive tree, but I can rest assured your soul contract is done, because it's 100 and 100%. Your father failed miserably in the task of maybe trying to be a better person for such a beautiful, unconditional, loving child. So your soul contract is done. That person in this lifetime will always be your parent, but what your mission, what you set out to do, is done. Don't feel bad walking away. Don't feel bad if you just don't want to, feed into their negativity. So it's all choice. But what you set out to do could be very loving, just like a handicapped person who signs up to be handicapped. And you're going to say, are you kidding? No. Maybe it's a soul mission for the parents to learn, to not be angry. What can they do with a handicapped child because of all of that? What love did it put into them? So that handicapped child, you can have 5 family members, and all 5 of these family members are taking away with something so beautiful based on the experience of living with a handicapped person.
I look at some of that as we choose our parents. However, that doesn't mean that we approve of all of their modalities, but we choose them on a soul level because of what we're going to gain from having them. I wrote a 5-year diary, 8th grade through 12th grade. And as you go back and reread, during days or whatever, just for fun, I flip it over. Almost every day is, I'm not going to do like this as my mom did. I'm not going to do like that as my mom did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do like this as my mom did. And I didn't. And I think I was a much better parent because I said it's easier to see the negative and go what you don't want than it is just to assume that you're going to copy it because it was good.
Absolutely, and I commend you for that because you were strong enough to break the cycle. Many times, children grow up saying, I'm never going to do it, and they end up doing it. But you can break the cycle. Everything is a choice, other than, I hate to say it, even a suicide is by choice. Okay?
Yes, and with that thought,
changes.
We're going to break for just a minute because we have our first commercial break, and when we come back we're going to talk about predestination. Stay tuned.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
When you need to know, meet Susan Rowlen. She is a gifted psychic medium, intuitive, and heart-centered healer who has given countless psychic and medium readings to clients all over the globe. Clients describe Susan as being warm-hearted, highly accurate, intuitive, inspiring, non-judgmental, and the real deal when delivering her readings to clients. As a professional psychic medium, Susan uses her abilities to help clients gain deep insights into their life journey and gain spiritual growth, shining light on relationships, love, career, business, and family. A gifted spiritual healer, she is ready and uniquely qualified to help you transform your life. You may schedule an appointment with Susan via her website, susanrowlen.com.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 Food Banks strong.
Welcome back to Luminescence, Common Sense Spirituality. You're with Lynn Wyeth, and our special guest today is Susan Rowlen. And again, I want to repeat that her website is her name. It's Susan spelt the normal way, and her last name is ROWLEN.com. So SusanRowlen.com. Okay, Susan, you were just about to talk about suicide being a choice.
Well, it is a choice, and it does change the stakes dramatically. A lot of people, when they have a loved one and they have committed suicide, the biggest question that they have is, where are they? Because they're so concerned by the act of what they've done that their soul will be still received with love with God. And I always say yes, always, because you get into a different level, and your workings will be in a different level. So a lot of times, when many times I've had widows or widowers where their spouses have passed and they've had literally a lifetime and they just can't live any longer. They don't want to. And they just want to be with their loved one up there. And I always say, if you do this, and you can, it's free will, I can't stop you from doing it, but just remember, you will see your loved one, but you won't get to stay. Your loved one's in a different level than you are because of the choice that you've done. You're not going to be punished, but there's going to be a heck of a lot more work for you to do in different levels. And they look at me, they just raise their head and they'll say, really? I say, yes. But if you're open and make your peace with your loved one's passing, your loved one will be free to come to you in various different ways, and that communication can still keep going. So many times people think that you have to pass before you see your loved one. Not necessarily. When you're open and you talk and you have made peace with their passing, they'll come to you in various different ways, especially in dreams. And they'll show you how good they look, because every single soul that crosses over, they look miraculous. They look great. They look healthy. They look younger, maybe a favorite time in their life that they want to come back as. And it's quite fulfilling. It's quite peaceful. And then the loved ones that are here, they start going on with their lives. Yes, they still miss them, but they have a sort of comfort. So it's quite beautiful.
Two things with that. When I was talking with my dad on the other side, one of the very first things he said to me was, we hear everything.
Absolutely.
You think our name, you think about us, we are listening. It's like a huge megaphone that goes, attention, attention, and here it comes in. And so when he told me that, I said, oh, I didn't know. And he said, so stop being so redundant.
But he's right, because I always say it's like that invisible doorbell. Whenever you're thinking and speaking of them with such energy, it reaches to them. So yes, they see everything. They know the next big party celebration, or somebody's pregnant and having a baby boy. I mean, I get a ton of that. And they're like, oh my God, yes, my sister's having a boy. My dad said that. I said, he knows it's going to be a boy. And your sister's going to name him after that. Oh, yes. I mean, they cry, they're excited, but they see and hear everything.
Well, the other thing that I think is important to know about the other side is, I always ask, Dad, is there something I can do here for you from this side that can help you on that side? Prayers, thoughts, whatever, Yeah. And my dad replied, and he goes, I appreciate the fact that you'd like to help me, but I'm on the side that's the great side. I should be saying, what more can I do to help you?
And they actually do. I have so many times where I'll have grandmothers coming with rosaries, and they're saying thank you for the blessings, but they're blessing them. And I always say, when I want to pray to someone that has passed, I always say, may God continue to bless your spirit and soul and bestow God's richest blessings each and every minute to you. I do.
Yes.
I do. I think it's very important to pay it forward when you're praying to anyone, and ask for their soul and spirit to be blessed by God. It's very important.
I think so too. Okay, predestination. Is everything predestined? Is just the main items predestined? Is none of it predestined? Talk to me about predestination.
Everything is predestined except suicide. Suicide, you're taking matters in your own hand. Okay? So you're breaking the soul contract. Okay? But how we live our life is choice. But what happens, it is in a way predestined because, like, for instance, somebody who had an accident is handicapped. Was that supposed to happen? My answer is yes. Yes, because of all the other things that come with that one frightful moment and everything that evolves. Yes, I do. I do. Very much so. Just like when somebody, there's a lot of shootings in Chicago. I'm sure everybody that's listening understands how bad Chicago is right now with the safety. And there's innocent children that are being shot every day. Now, is that predestined? Unfortunately, it's going to be a yes. Now, why does God let this happen? Because there are other reasons of what comes out of it for the families. And it is well, I don't mean to interrupt, but just like when something bad happens and they've created a law or they've created this and something good happens down the line, because I call those people the sacrificial lambs. They had to go in order for the bigger picture to evolve for us to do something good because of it. Okay, so I look at life like a freeway. Okay, You're in a car, you're going down the freeway, you have exit ramps, okay? You can get off at any of those exit ramps, okay? And it's fine, you can get off. But when you have an accident on the freeway, that's called a suicide, and then all those other people are inconvenienced and the pileups and the whatnot because you chose to get off of the freeway a way other than an exit ramp. Well, you could, and that's true. But then think about when you got off of that, what consequences did it lead you to? Right. Well, normally, if you're in an accident, you're hurt, you're going to the hospital, you're going someplace where you're going to get some extra help. Right. But I'm just saying, when you decide to take the expressway instead of this, or you're stopped by a train, there's more consequences to why you're being stopped by the train. Maybe it's to stop you and delay you, so when you get on the expressway, there's a 12-car pileup, but it missed you. That train saved you. Right. So everything is parallel to where we're supposed to go. There are no accidents, as we always know, and there's no coincidences. It happens. It just happens, and we're in sync every second of our lives to what we do. One time I was in the back of a police car, okay, and I was going on a case with some police officers. They wanted me to go. Well, believe it or not, I had my cell phone on my lap, and we were going into a very bad, dangerous neighborhood. Guess what happened? My cell phone, it's like an invisible angel, took it and threw it on the floor. There was no slipping. It was like someone, took it, picked it up, and threw it on the floor. I bent over, and while I was bending over, the back of the glass got shot. Now, had I been sitting up, I would have been dead. I would have been shot in the head. Think about that. I think that all of us are what I want to call rescued by invisible spirits, and angels. And angels are, I think we all have that experience in life, and I think the real thing is, did we recognize it? Well, and that's very true, and I think a lot of people are just so stunned and they're shaken, and yes, they're in shock. But after that, they have time to reflect on that, and that's when the faith starts to come in. Or if you've had faith, it becomes stronger. If you've never had faith, you now believe that there's something greater. And those are other reasons. So what I'm saying is everything that happens is so many different reasons of what we need to get out of it based on the experience. So as we make different choices, there's movies like Sliders and others that if you make this choice, your life would go that way, but if you made this choice, your life would go this other way. And they show like both whatever. Absolutely, it's a choice.
And are we creating multiple timelines so that we're actually experiencing all of our choices just on multiple timelines? I do believe that. I do. And I know it gets a little complicated, but when we're choosing this and this, well, think about this. Think about when we're in different relationships. Sometimes we're making the same mistake over and over again with various different people. And it's going this way and this way and this way. Because all of those relationships are trying to signal us what we have to change within us to what we're looking at. Okay, and then how we're responding differently. Exactly.
So yes, I do. I think that's a great question you asked, because they are all different, but the meaning that we have to get out of it, the lesson. So that's the most important, what we get out of it. So sometimes, we have people that are delayed. They're late bloomers, I call them. So they took this choice and this choice and this choice, and you get others that just take this choice and that was the magic, and they've, succeeded in every way, because it's what we have to learn with our journey and how it's going to transcend us to where we have to go. So some people learn quicker and some people don't. Again, it's choice.
Okay, so the first law of the universe is we have to take responsibility for everything we do, we participate in, we think, whatever. We're totally responsible for ourselves, can't blame anybody else. The second law of the universe, to my understanding, is you cannot affect or change or take away, is another way of saying it, someone else's free will choice, because there's consequences for that.
True.
Okay, so talk to us about that, how that works, because we want our own sovereignty, and yet we think we're allowing it with others, and yet I watch, free will being stompled on or produced, squashed or whatever. Is that ever allowed, even, I would think, as a parent with a small child, when our children get older, just with friends, just with strangers, just with laws? How does that work?
It's funny because with children, what I'm really understanding more and more as time goes by is, yes, you have to be the parent, and yes, you have to, incorporate the rules. I do believe that, because children don't know their limits, okay? But on a spiritual note, take heed of what your child is feeling. How can I say this? Children are very intuitive souls. So, the way I was raised, you kissed your elders when they came inside. You kissed this, Uncle so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. You always did that. But now, when I had my daughter, I didn't make her go kiss Annie so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so, because if my daughter wasn't ready to do it, or my daughter was feeling leery, I really paid attention and zoomed in on that choice that she didn't want to do it. That wasn't disrespectful. She would say hello and smile, but she didn't want to go and kiss them. Now, another parent would say, you do that, that's disrespectful. I think it's being disrespectful when you're not listening enough to your child, because your child is feeling something that maybe you're not feeling.
Right,
So
and they're picking up on something. Is there a time period, like the first 7 years of a life, that a child is more sensitive and more connected to the other side, and then after that they want to be socialized or they want to get along, and so they're not as connected?
Very
or they're
much
not
so.
as aware of they're connected?
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I tell people. All children see spirit, just like all animals see spirit, because they're not tainted and they're very, very pure. The animals stay pure. Unfortunately, we all grow up and we get tainted by life and circumstances. Now, usually children will see spirit through 7 years old. Now, if they surpass the age of 7, that means that they will have the gift for life.
So if it hasn't been taught out of them or squished?
Yes, very much so. And there's a lot of people's children that I do counsel. Because a lot of times people say, what age could I bring my child to see you? Well, believe it or not, I have a lot of parents that will bring in their newborn babies to see me. And they want to know, what is this little soul going to be about? How can we be better parents to this little soul? What are things we should be doing, enforcing, things that we need to just let them be? What is their personality? How can I help my child be happy, more soulful, setting my child up for success? So there is no timeline to see a soul. It's very interesting, but very true.
See, I think that's funny, because when you were saying that, I was just thinking about an appointment I have after this radio show, and it's with parents that are going in to have their child induced for whatever. And they're saying, here's our child's name that we have just gotten. Can you give us what it is? Can you tell us about it before we go in? So from the moment that child comes out, we're ready.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because when I see premature children, that went into premature labor, I truly believe that this little soul reincarnated quite quickly. Like went up to God and said, I want to do it again, send me back down. They are in a hurry to be born because they are literally on a mission to do whatever they have to do. So whenever I see, any early births before that they are due, premature births, that is a big sign that this soul reincarnated quite quickly for whatever reason. Why? They're on a mission, and they're just like, when I see so many women, me included, I had 3 false labors with my daughter. And I turned around and I said, I already know how she's going to be. You're not going to be able to rush this child. She's going to be very indecisive, and she's got to do it in her own way. So the doctor came in, and my husband says, Doctor, why does my wife keep having false labor? He goes, in layman terms, she can't make up her mind if she wants in or out. And there it is, And believe me, she's 30 years old, still the same way.
So if a child then comes late, would the deduction be that child needed more time to think about coming or wasn't in a hurry to get here?
Wasn't in a hurry. Absolutely not. Was not upset that it's being born, but really okay with just being where it is. Okay? And that's okay too. So can you tell of a child's personality in the womb? Most definitely.
Isn't that fascinating? Susan, I love talking with you. And again, everybody, if you would like to talk with Susan and have a session with her, you can go to her website and sign up. It's Susan Rowlen. It's ROWLEN.com. And we are once again, time just goes flying by when I'm talking with Susan, and it's time for our second and last commercial break. Stay tuned.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from New Thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Mark Twain said the 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. The why is hidden in your name. Sharon Lynn Wyeth has created a scientific way of deciphering your name to reveal your contract for this lifetime. And your name even specifies the 7 areas that are subsets of your soul's overall goal. Your name identifies who you are to both yourself and others. What does your name say about you? Contact Sharon Lynn Wyeth at info@knowthename.com for your stunning name review.
The United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. At the Equal Justice Initiative, we believe mass incarceration has to end. There is this presumption of dangerousness and guilt that gets assigned to Black and brown people. We have to confront our history of racial injustice and commit to a new era of truth. There's something better waiting for us, something that feels more like freedom. Truth can inspire change. Please learn more at EJI.org.
Luminescence, Common Sense Spirituality, the radio show that disseminates esoteric knowledge. You are with Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and our special guest today is Susan Rowlen. And remember that her website is literally, sorry, it's Rowlen, my Midwestern accent. I watch sometimes when I go to say Washington instead of Washington. It just slides
That's
out
okay,
sometimes.
really. That's okay. You can't help it, It's just where your mind goes, what you're used to.
You can tell that I've been retrained to say my words correctly,
Well, you're doing a good job with it, I'll tell you. You really are. You're very mindful of it, and I love it.
Anyway, if you want to talk with Susan, please go to her website. Susan is spelled the normal way, and the last name is Rowlen, and then it's .com. Our producer just gave me a thing and respelled Washington as Washington with the word war in there, WAR. That's how it's really spelled.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
It is. I remember kids getting upset with me when we were in California, and I was in 6th grade, and I remember this girl yelling at me, "It's not Washington, it's Washington. Why don't you learn how to talk right?"
Oh, that's funny. That is so funny. But you can't help it. Seriously. I'm in Arizona, and there's a place called Prescott, but I would always call it Prescott. And they look at me funny, and it's spelled Prescott, but they pronounce it Prescott. So believe me, I've been corrected many times, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well, and that's just like out here in Tennessee, where I'm at, not that far from me, is what looks like Sevierville, but it's pronounced Sevierville. And I thought, why do you want to be so severe? Why would you want to pronounce it that way? And then I think, okay, just learn how to say it so that people around you understand you. Anyway, we're going back to how much, is planned when we're co-creating. How much is planned before birth compared to how much is created versus the free will once you're here?
Well, I think what you came here to do is definitely something you've agreed to do. But then along the way, because of the choices that we're making, we are also learning. So even if you came because of somebody else, for somebody else, okay, and trying to make a difference, you're also gathering information for your soul growth of the experiences that you get to take with you. When you pass, it's all about not the cars, not the money in the bank accounts, not your fancy homes, your clothes. We came in naked, and we basically are going to leave with nothing other than our experiences. And that is what truly makes or breaks us, but in a soul content to where we're going to go in the next lifetime to what we need to do.
Well, that makes sense.
I tell people, never be afraid of another lifetime. So, all these people that are in your life, they will have some sort of role playing in the next one. Maybe not as intimate as some roles are in your life, because if you've learned that it's okay not to please a narcissist, that you have a mother that's a narcissist, trust me, you're done. So if you don't have a great relationship with your mother, or she was very abusive to you, you can really pat yourself on the back and say, it was hard for me, but I did it. She didn't win, and I still am walking away with who I am, and she didn't break my spirit. Next lifetime, are you going to be with that particular soul? You may, but maybe it'll be a boss that you could say, you know what, I quit. Okay? So the roles will definitely change, okay? But this is something that I try to tell people not to be afraid. Now, this is very interesting that I want to say, and it may not have a bearing to what is on the show today, but I do want to say this, that if you are a person in this lifetime who has extraordinary abilities, say as an artist or a psychic or a beautiful music, a player, you're probably going to do it again and again in other lifetimes. I remember when my daughter was, I think she was about 4 years old, we took her to a fine dining restaurant. She was always very good when we took her out. And she was bored. And apparently she got a hold of the waiter's pen that he accidentally left on the table. Accidentally, is what I thought. No accidents. She took the pen, and of course I'm talking, I'm not paying attention, and she started to draw the waiter's face on the tablecloth. Okay. Now,
I bet you were horrified.
Horrified, but I was in awe of how beautiful the drawing was. She was barely 5 years old. And she was very quiet, and every time he came to the table, she was drawing, but nobody paid attention because she was drawing on the flap. And after it was done, I said, Alex, did you do this? I was like, she just looked at me like, you're crazy. You know, like, what do you, it's no big deal. It's a drawing. I apologized. I offered to pay for the tablecloth, and the waiter said, oh, my God, this is me. And she drew it like a 30-year-old woman. And he said, no, you're not going to pay for it, but may I keep this? And she goes, sure. And she just smiled like a little 4-year-old would say.
See, that's so darling.
She's done it before. Whenever you see a person who's never had a lesson, but they have this magic of doing things, they've been doing it before.
You know, when you were speaking about last lives, I've always thought that if you need this to be your last life, then you definitely know it isn't. Because you've got to get to the point where it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to bloom wherever you're planted, here, there, somewhere else. You'll bloom wherever you're planted, and it doesn't matter where that is.
Amen. You couldn't have said it more beautifully, and that's true. You know, I've often thought about lives, and people said, do you know how old you are? And, you know, I know I'm an old soul, but do I know exactly? No, and I don't care to know. Okay, because to me it really doesn't make a difference because I keep learning. But, you know, hard experiences have taught me a great deal of respect, and it's taught me not to be afraid. Now, this is interesting because now I know I've had some real, you know, tough lifetimes because I'm not afraid. Now, I'm not wishing anything bad. No. But it's kind of laws of attraction again. If you're not afraid and you walk around life always being afraid, you are going to have one mishap after another. You have to look at things and say, whatever comes my way, I will do the best that I can as a human being. That's
I want to share with you Sherry Anshara, another one of my every other month guests. She has redefined fear for us, and she says in her understanding, fear is simply a lack of information. And you only go into fear when you need more information. So instead of when you start to feel fear, just start thinking, what information am I lacking? Where am I going to go get it? How am I going to get this satisfied?
Well, and that's true. You know, I have, I've seen people that have to make different decisions in way if they want to buy a house or where they want to move, and they have money. So there is no thing of it. It actually, when I see people that are very, conservative with their money, or cheap, I can say, however you want to say it, that tells me in another lifetime that they had money that was taken away, or they had things that were taken away. This is why they are so having such a problem. Even though they have the money in this lifetime, they still are in fear mode. I'm wondering if this is coming from another lifetime, which I bet it is.
That would make a lot of sense. So if we're using our creative juices and our creative power the most effectively, what would we be thinking? What would we be doing?
Well, the first thing I say is whatever your fears are, if you have a fear that did not constitute anything in this current lifetime, it's definitely coming from another lifetime. You have to remind yourself you are in a new body, you have a beautiful new life, and you cannot let that fear paralyze you to whatever's happened in the past. This is very, very important in order for you to succeed to what you need to learn. This is very important. This is why when I do sessions with my clients, it's very important for me to get what I'm getting, and then I explain to them. So very often people do want to do the work. I really believe that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be making an appointment with me. So that tells me that they are interested in learning. But explaining where this is coming from then starts to make sense for them to do the work.
Yes. I think knowledge is power, and it definitely empowers us. You know, we've got just a very, very short time period left. If you wanted to leave everybody with just one quick thought, Susan, what would it be?
To not overthink what it should be. How about let life give you the surprises that you need? It may have not turned out the way you decided it should turn out, but why don't you embrace it? Because each lifetime is all about differences.
You know, I love that, especially since you're saying it on my show, and I don't like surprises. I don't want a surprise party. I want to know what's coming next, you know, because I want to be fully prepared.
Yeah, but you can't be in control all the time because universe has a hand at it. And I keep saying, if it's between you and universe is going to put you in a position and it's going to knock the crap out of you sometimes, but they're trying to tell you you can't be in control all the time. Just like in you're a parent, you cannot be in control of what your child does every second of the day, from their thoughts to their behavior.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Susan, I know our time always goes so fast when you're on the show. I want to remind everybody again, her appointments, I have had them, I have experienced them. They're just fabulous and marvelous. And if you would like an appointment with Susan, she's got quite a waiting list. Sign up now so that, you know, by the time you actually really, really, really want it, you'll be closer to getting it. Her name is Susan Rowlen. Susan is spelled the regular way, and her last name is ROWLEN.com. And next week, we are having Susan Klopstein on. She comes back in, and we are going to be talking about how the universe is set up in the different Rakiyas. Probably most of us haven't heard of that word, but she will be explaining it. Also, I want to remind you that we always close out with the song Shine by Dee Lamore. And you can hear more of her music at her website, DLEMOR.com, DLemore.com. And just like always, I am so appreciative that you've taken your time to come and listen with us, that you're wanting to develop your own consciousness and grow and think about different ideas that are presented here and see how they resonate with you. In most appreciation, this is Sharon Lynn Wyeth signing off.
Gazing in the mirror, an image of an angel smiling back at her. No wounds or imperfections, just beauty and its glow. Her laughter and her heart, a reflection of her soul. And I want to shine like the sun and smile to stop the rain. And I want to dance with the wind and believe in dreams again. Of light stroke the canvas of her, the light slightly dimmed, her reflection unseen, and all that she knew, and all